All right, and welcome back to the Shardbreaker podcast. This is episode 7 of Mistborn, The Well of Ascension. We read chapters 34 through 38. I am Midnight, the host of this, and I am here with Mythic
Hello.
and Darkness.
Hello.
And also, we are doing this a bit earlier today, so Darkness and I are very tired because we're in the earlier time zone. Apologies in
She
advance if
definitely
we're out of
didn't
it.
mess up her intro.
Shush,
Definitely.
Shush, this isn't the second take.
Mhm.
So we're going straight into the epigraph of chapter 34. There was a place for me in the lore of the anticipation. I thought myself the announcer, the prophet foretold to discover the hero of ages. Renouncing Alendi, then, would have been to renounce my new position, my acceptance by the others, and so I did not. So what do you think about this announcer that is spoken about in the prophecies? What are your thoughts on that?
I think you should announce
Set
it.
is the hero of ages. He has announced his coming.
Well, no, the announcer's a separate person.
He has announced his coming. Set is the hero of ages.
You can't be both the announcer and the hero of ages.
He can be whatever he wants.
What were you gonna say,
Let the
Darkness?
crippled man have his power.
What were you gonna say, Darkness?
He's announcing bedtime.
Also, if there is a new hero of ages, who do you think the new announcer is gonna be?
Says.
I think Thazed is the announcer.
Either that or whatever the her name is. Tyndall?
Tyndall.
Yeah. I'm glad I can remember their names.
What do you think, Darkness?
I'm really trying to think of what if Ellen's just the announcer and then Vin is the actual hero of ages?
I still don't think Vin's the hero of ages. So.
I kind of changed my mind because of a later
A little epigraph, yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, well we'll get to that when we get to that epigraph then. So we start this chapter with Ellen's point of view as he discusses with Ham they need a unanimous vote to depose a member of the assembly, and the other merchants wouldn't allow that. Sayst, Ellen, and Ham all have stacks of books around them as they try to figure out how to get Ellen his throne back. Say's stacks are neatly organized with the spines all facing the same way, Ellen's are haphazard, and Ham's are shorter stacks as he mostly just voices ideas. Tyndall is also in the room, but she refuses to help as she thinks that is overstepping the boundaries of educating.
Fuck her.
We also have meet Norden, a previous obligator as indicated by the tattoos around his eyes, and he states that he had found some information on Lord Set. Some financial records reveal that Set had more of a political hand in Luthadel than he had led others to believe, with most of his trading being done using lesser houses for fronts. It's also noted that Norden is a fairly cheerful obligator, and he even chuckles about the looks on all their faces when Set had revealed himself. Ellen tells him to stay focused, though, and after a bit more discussion regarding how hard Ellen's laws have made this for him, Norden suggests that they just let Set take the throne. Ellen, however, asks Norden if he thinks Set would follow the laws Ellen had laid out, and Norden eventually replies that Set does not seem like a man to follow laws. So what were your first impressions of Norden?
He seems like a reasonable man.
Honestly, the whole time I kind of just tried ignoring his name because I knew I wasn't gonna remember it. And I mean, to me, he low-key felt insignificant, but we're just gonna,
He's the cheerful outcast obligator.
I think I liked one of the comments he made a little bit further down I forgot what it was. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure it made me laugh.
So Ellen then suggests that they should have just made an alliance with one of the armies to start with, and it seems that people want to do that, and he should do what the people want. Sayst, however, disagrees and says that Ellen's ruler needs to rule the best he can, and if the people do not feel that his ideals match with theirs, then they will vote him out. Ellen finds this to be the same as what Tyndall said, but he finds it a better or more honest way to speak the same words. So we then switch to Vin's point of view as she comes into the room. She notes that everyone is studying something, even Tyndall seems to be going through her copper mines. Vin feels she should be studying too, or mentioning Demo, but there are too many people in the room. Vin brings up that people have been getting sick, and Ellen says that a well was poisoned, and he thought he had already mentioned it to her earlier. She thinks that at one point Ellen would have asked her to deal with it, but now he deals with it all on his own. She also notes that Ellen lets their group call him Your Majesty, which he never used to let them do. Sayst mentions that there seems to be no holes in Ellen's laws. So what did you think of the kind of interactions here between Ellen and Vin?
She seems like she's seeing that she's not useful anymore.
Darkness?
So this whole time, well, not the whole time, a lot of the time, I spent reading this, up until like where they're in the actual meeting or whatever,
Mhm.
it felt like Finn was just exploding with insecurities.
Yeah.
And so like I mean I get it because he's changing or whatever, but like she's gotta realize he's not always gonna depend on her and stuff. So
It just felt like a very awkward scene to me. Like I felt like Ellen was being a bit dismissive of Vin because he was so focused on trying to get things done, and Vin was being awkward. Was being extra insecure here.
yeah, but like I mean he's supposed to be king. He's supposed to take care of stuff and like focus on it.
So it's mentioned that Sayce had looked over Ellen's laws, and Tinwell comes out of her daze from viewing her compromise to ask about it. She seems annoyed that Sayce had allowed Ellen to put through such laws, but Ellen states that he will not have Tinwell insulting his friend, even if indirectly. In the face of having to choose between apologizing to Sayce and leaving the room, Tinwell decides to leave the room. Sayce says Ellen didn't have to do that, but Ellen replies that Sayce allows people to treat him poorly. Do you agree with that? That Sayce needs to needs to stand up for himself more and stop letting people treat him poorly?
Don't worry, he stands up for himself later.
Kind of.
I want you to do this.
Do
Ho, ho.
you agree, Darkness, that he needs to not let people kind of walk all over him?
Unless he's into it, then yeah.
Oh gosh. So Vin thinks that
Is he into it though?
Vin thinks that Ellen doesn't have a different perspective than before, but he speaks those perspectives differently. She tries to bring up the deepness, but Ellen mentions he doesn't have time. She then gets up to go on patrol, and Ellen mentions that she should check out Set's setup while she is out. Outside the window is Zane. He smiles at her, and they jump up to the roof of the keep before Zane attacks. He attacks in a more dangerous way than when he had sparred against her before, and it doesn't take long before Vin realizes he is burning atium. He effortlessly dodges her attacks and yanks her back to the roof when she tries to jump away. Eventually, Zane notes that Vin really doesn't have the atium stash, and Vin admits that she used her last bead of atium against Set's assassins. Zane walks a few steps away from her, and Vin grabs her fallen daggers, one of them cracked. So do you think Zane will tell Straff that Vin doesn't have any more atium?
No. Wait. Okay, no, yeah, it's Straff. Okay. I don't know. I thought you said Set for some reason.
No, yeah.
Why would he
Zane
tell
tells,
Set?
yeah, no, will Zane tell Straff, his dad?
If anything, I think Straff will find out because of Set.
How dare they take my throne from me?
It's just...
They don't have the ATM. Let's burn it to the ground together.
So we switch to Zane's point of view as he tells Vin that his father wants him to kill her. She asks why he doesn't, and he says taking her away would have the same effect. He suggests that they leave together, and it would leave both Straff and Ellen without their tools. Vin, however, tells Zane that what they have isn't what he thinks, and that she loves Ellen. God tells Zane to kill Ellen, and Zane then tells Vin that he and Ellen are brothers, and that Straff's other reason for all the mistresses is to have Misting and Mistborn children. He was treated like a beggar in his own home and had to watch Ellen reject everything Zane wanted. But he also wouldn't trade his life for Ellen's. Zane then says he came to warn Vin about refugees that Straff was sending to Luthadel. Apparently a nearby town named Suizna, I'm not really sure how to pronounce that. Suizna?
Tweeza.
Yeah, had been pillaged by the Koloss. It was only a day away, and refugees were coming, which would only make the residents of Luthadel even more scared. So why do you think Zane told Vin about the refugees and his father's desire to have Zane kill her?
Because he loves her.
Oh yeah, it's just trying to make him think like, he's incapable and stuff. So I'll just say it when it happens. Never mind.
Okay. Zane then tells Vin it would be better for both her and Ellen if Vin left with Zane. You can tell Vin doesn't believe him, but he thinks that proof is coming of what Ellen truly thinks of Vin. So at this point, what proof did you think Zane had planned? And do you think
he doesn't really love you? He's just using you.
This is Darkness. What proof do you think Zane has planned?
I don't even know what he could do, honestly. All I'm thinking about is like every time that he's like, oh yeah, you see, he only wants to use you and shit. Like right after he does some dumb shit with Vin, but
All right.
I'm not sure.
So it was chapter 34. We've got chapter 35's epigraph now. It is, but I do so now. Let it be known that I, Quan, Worldbringer of Terrace, am a fraud. I didn't really have a question about that. Did you guys have any thoughts on declaring himself a fraud on a metal sheet that probably no one reads for 1,000 years?
Just the fact that we already knew he was a fraud, technically, but okay.
Yeah, he kind of already says it earlier, and it's like, do you really have to make that statement now? Again, you're kind of rambling, and you only have certain amount of space. Quan's an interesting one. Quan didn't learn how to properly summarize things back in school.
Reminds me of you.
What?
Yeah, no, right?
Super self-centered, you know.
Wow. I see how it is.
Hmm.
Anyways, we start with Vin's point of view as she looks at herself in a mirror while wearing a maroon dress. Tyndall is with her and tells her that she looks beautiful, and Vin mentions that she has no jewelry as she had let Ellen sell the last of it to help the refugees. But Tyndall says that Vin doesn't need jewelry as she isn't plain. Tyndall then mentions that Ellen is at the point where he almost no longer needs her instruction. From then on, his lessons will come from experience. She says that he is becoming the man he was meant to be, and Vin is also becoming the woman she was meant to be before she got distracted. So what do you think about Ellen no longer needing instruction from Tyndall?
He has become.
He has become what? Because King? No.
No, he has become.
He just has become.
Mhm.
What do you think, Darkness?
I feel like, yeah, he's learning or whatever, but I feel like there's going to be that point where he gets, like, hella overwhelmed. Well, technically it already happened. But I don't know. I feel like he's not as ready as she thinks he is.
Well, she says he's not actually, like, ready, just that
And he has to learn on his own.
yeah, that he just, there's nothing else he can learn from her specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think Vin asked that, if like, oh, does that mean he's good now? She's like, no. He has experiences he must do now in order to become a better king. So Vin asks if Tyndall is coming, but she says no, and that Vin should go meet her king. We switch to Ellen's point of view as he notes all the people he has with him to bring to keep Hastings, where Set is staying. He has 200 soldiers, Ham as his bodyguard, Spook as his coachman, and Breeze, up until Ellen says he doesn't have to come, and Breeze mentions that Set will likely be more friendly without him around. Vin then also arrives and states he'll have a Mistborn with him as well. We switch back to Vin's point of view as they ride in the carriage to keep Hastings. Ellen notes that he and Vin never properly went to a ball together, even though they met up at balls several times. Vin asks if they'll ever have balls again, and Ellen at first doesn't seem to think so. However, Finn,
Villain.
that fucking.
So Vin's the villain now?
No.
All right.
Oh my gosh. However, Vin brings up that they can hold them as charity events and that all the food and decorations are technically bought from ska merchants, which makes Ellen seem to consider it. So do you think they'll hold balls in the future?
Repeat
I
it?
mean, I think they'll hold his balls.
Douglas, I said that. Do you think they'll ever hold balls again in the future?
Maybe. I know Saze won't be part of it.
Well, because he has none.
Wow.
Get him? No, but like,
You did. You did.
I really don't think so.
No, you don't think there's room for balls in
No,
their society?
I don't think so, bro. Maybe in like the next era. You know what I mean?
The next era.
The next era of Mistborn.
The next era is like they're like partying with DJs and all that shit.
So once at Keep Hastings, a soldier greets them at the door. He tells them that their soldiers should wait there. Vin doesn't like that Demo is there with the soldiers, but she knows that Conjure can't hurt humans, so she isn't too concerned. Ellen then has an honor guard made of Ham, Spook, Demo, and some soldiers before heading further into the keep. They climb 2 sets of stairs before ending in a circular room with stained glass windows. Vin wonders if it's a secondary ballroom. Set is sitting at a very large table and is already eating, stating that they're late, so he started without them. Ellen leads Vin to the table, and his honor guard position themselves around the room near the exits. Set also has soldiers in the room, although a few less than Ham. His son stands
No one else was in the room where it happened.
His son stands next to him, and Vin thinks that one of them must be a Mistborn. So do you agree with her that either Set or his son are a Mistborn?
It'd be more like, in my opinion, it'd be more likely that his son is a Mistborn.
Mm.
And if anything, then Set is like a misthing. But you know,
I don't know. I don't think either one of them are Mistborn. Maybe Alamancers, but I don't think they're Mistborns.
Fair. So Ellen and Vin sit down to eat, and Vin notes that Set had chosen drumsticks with vegetables and gravy to be served. She thinks that he chose that to annoy Ellen, as it's very messy food. Ellen then asks Set why he isn't here since he has no intention to vote for Set to be king. Set says because it's interesting. Ellen asks if this is about
It is
Alrian.
interesting.
Ellen asks if this is about Alrian, but Set laughs and says they can keep her and that he knows that Ellen won't harm her. Breeze
Oh
is
my god.
Breeze is then brought up, and Set says that he didn't chase Breeze off for sleeping with his daughter. Instead, he says that Alrian seduced Breeze, and that even in his few weeks of knowing Breeze, he could tell he was bad with women. Instead, Breeze left after Set tried to get him to switch to his side. Set then says that he knows Elend because a weasel like Breeze would only stay loyal to a truly good man. However, he thinks that a man as honest as Elend can't be king, which is why he needs to take the throne. So at this point, were you surprised to hear that Alrian was the one who seduced Breeze?
Yes, but I was also laughing hysterically.
What do you think, Darkness? Were you surprised?
I was a little disgusted, but yeah.
I feel like it's a little. I mean, there's issues I'll bring up later, but I feel like it's a little less creepy when it's like the younger person going after the older person than the older person going after the younger person. But
I don't know about that. I don't know about
I
that.
don't know.
That's
Maybe not.
That's really not how it works.
Maybe not. I don't know. There's other issues I have that we'll
Okay,
get to
so
later.
if it's like an older person, no, it works either way. Like it's just like it's bad, especially if either one doesn't like want it or whatever.
Well, yeah, no,
But-
but I'm just saying it's a little less. I feel like it's sometimes a little less creepy if it's the older person that's not starting the thing. So it just feels like they're going after like.
I don't know. That still
Kids.
makes me like really uncomfortable. though.
No, it's definitely still uncomfortable. I hate their relationship. I'm saying.
Also that like huge like reveal of her just using.
Well,
Alan
yeah, we'll get to that.
together.
I have
Mm.
very many thoughts on their relationship because of that stuff. I will go into that.
Okay.
But we don't know about that just yet. So Vin then sniffs at the food to try to detect any poison, but Ellen states that he doesn't think that Set would poison them as he seems honest. Set replies that he's blunt, which is different, and that he's told 3 lies already. So what do you think Set's 3 lies were? Because Brandon's actually answered this question. I will tell you after you guess.
I completely forgot what he said. So
But yeah, Set apparently lies 3 times. I mean, it could also be. Do you think, first of all, that he did give 3 lies, or maybe he's didn't actually say 3 lies already? Or if you do think he gave 3 lies and he's telling the truth here, what kind of things did he lie about?
no, he's an honest man. He's not gonna lie. He's lying about lying. I need to have like this specific paragraph out because
Hmm?
weird.
Did you say Darkness?
I'm looking for the paragraph.
I'm just trying to think of the lies that he could have told. The only one I could think of would be that he didn't care about his daughter. But
You want to take a chance to look at the text, Darkness, before I reveal if he said 3 lies and if he did what they were?
I'm trying to find it. I can't find it. What chapter is this?
This is chapter 35, I believe.
It keeps going back to the fucking knives thing.
Oh, for
No.
part 4 knives?
No. Yeah, I don't want to see that right now, bro.
It's like, you've read this. Why are you going back?
Yeah, it keeps putting me back, and I'm just like, stop it. Okay. This is after he explains what happens to Breeze, right?
Yeah, so basically they get in. This is from since getting into the ballroom until pretty much after he says that like Breeze why Breeze actually was left, and he just says like, I've already told 3 lies.
I've already told you 3 lies because I'm that honest of a person that I'll tell you I lied to people.
Man, I don't know. Set annoys the fuck out of me, though. Lucky.
Okay. So there were 3 lies. So the first lie was he didn't care about Alrian running off. So I think was right. The second one is that he doesn't care about Breeze's relationship with Alrian. So he is a bit upset about them.
Of course he's gonna care with it. Like,
Yeah.
he literally has a whole crush on Breeze. They literally had an affair, and he goes for his daughter.
And the third lie is that he had already told 3 lies, because at that point he had only told 2.
Wow, so quirky.
I had a feeling that was going to be that, though, but yeah.
Yeah, so those are his 3 lies. So Seth then states that Ellen should leave running Luthadel to men who understand their own corruption before it destroys him. When Ellen asks why he cares, Set states that he'd rather not kill Ellen. Ellen asks what Set will do if he wins the vote, and Set replies that he would have Ellen assassinated, even though he just said that he doesn't want to kill Ellen, and the assembly disbanded. However, if Ellen hands over the throne and leaves town, Set will let him live. Set then states that the assembly works when times are good, but in times like this it doesn't. Ellen then asks what happens if he did leave, and Set states that the Ska would go back to being unpaid workers like in the times of the Lord Ruler. Ellen states that the people will choose freedom over slavery and won't vote Set in. So, if the people actually got a vote instead of just the assembly, do you think they would choose freedom or safety?
Wait, repeat the question?
So instead of this, if it was the actual like all of the people in Luthadel who got to vote instead of just the assembly, do you think they would choose freedom or safety?
Yeah, no, I think they would choose safety.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys think they would give over the place to Set? So Set then asks Ellen about the ATM. He says that he'd be willing to trade canned goods, which is apparently a fairly recent technology that the Lord Ruler invented, for ATM so that Ellen's people don't starve. Ellen is surprised to learn that Set still thinks he has the ATM and tells him that Breeze had been spreading the rumors that they had the ATM so Set would come to invade Luthadel to stop Straff from instantly attacking. Set is surprised, and as he had thought Breeze had just been there to spy and keep him from going after Luthadel, but it seems that they both underestimated each other. Ellen then mentions that they could still use the food, but Set states that they'll only get it once he becomes king. So were you surprised that Set had truly believed that he had the ATM and that Breeze was just a spy? Basically, are you surprised he fell for Breeze's ploy?
I mean, no, Breeze is like an international super spy, but like, I don't know, it kind of annoyed me because bringing him there was kind of a good thing, but also kind of not because all this extra shit is happening. But
I mean, there's a lot of extra shit happening, but probably they already would have been attacked by Straff if he hadn't.
yeah, but that's okay because, like, it's his papa.
Just Dad. He's definitely not gonna try and kill you.
Dad, why are you invading my room again? No privacy.
Just gonna take the door down.
Mm-hmm.
You're not allowed a bedroom door anymore, Ellen. You're in trouble.
The way I could still hear hints of like sleepiness in your voice. Too.
Shush.
Yep. Very tired.
But yeah, did you have any thoughts on that, Mythic?
On what?
On the fact that Set had kind of fallen for Breeze's plan? Like, actually believed that the A-Team was there and everything?
Breeze is a pretty looking, like Darkness is an international super spy.
I thought he said dachshund.
Dachshund?
Yeah.
Wait, we're talking about Dachshund now?
No, we're talking about Breeze.
No.
So Ellen and Set then eat, but Finn just pushes her food around just in case there is poison she didn't detect. She burns bronze and notes that there are 2 thugs acting as serving staff, not in the guards, and a tin eye listening in the room next door. There's no one burning copper to hide them. Finn thinks that her trick to pierce copper clouds was only shared by the Lord Ruler and the Inquisitors as far as she knows, and that she wonders what other secrets died with the Lord Ruler along with what the deepness actually was. Set then brings up the ATM one more time, but every suggestion he has of where it could be, Ellen says they already looked into. Set eventually sighs and says there isn't any point in holding him ransom before letting them leave for the night. That's the end of our little meeting with Set there. So we next have chapter 36. So the epigraph is, Alendi was never the hero of ages. At best, I have amplified his virtues, creating a hero where there was none. At worst, I fear that all we made believe has been corrupted. So what do you think he means that all they believe may have been corrupted?
Oh, you know how that thing he was talking about, like, if the people really need something, especially when they like need help and stuff because of like everything happening, like they'll try to create like a false hope by like making things fit that perspective of it. Yeah, that's what I think he's talking about. Also, has Vin ever tried to use ferrocami herself?
I don't think so. She's tried to burn a small piece of metal from Sazed, and she said she could feel something in there, but she couldn't access it. Like she could feel that Sazed has metal stored in it.
We know that like other ferrochemists can't use the same metal, right?
Yeah.
Like what's stored in the same metal, so.
And Sage did say that was similar to how ferrochemists feel with other ferrochemists metals as well. It's like you can feel there's something there, but it's not there.
I'm just thinking, because like, what if she is a ferrochemist and we just completely like gave up on that thing, and then that's one of the main reasons she could pierce through
copper clouds.
Copper clouds. Yeah, the same way what we assume the Lord Ruler could do.
You think she's somehow accidentally compounding like, I think bronze?
I don't remember what any of the ferrochemist metals do, but yeah, sure.
Give me a second, I can tell you.
I think has his notes.
I have a whole list.
I'll just look at the back of the book, bro.
No, let me do this.
Let Mythic have his notes, Darkness.
Never mind. I don't have. Wait, is it on a different fucking sheet? Just look at the back of the book because apparently
I'm not gonna look at the back of the
Here,
book.
I
It's gonna
can
have
I can
stuff
look
I'm
it
not
up.
supposed
my
to.
Alamantu chart no longer has that. So
Bronze Store's wakefulness.
I mean, technically that can count. Whatever.
I was more saying
wait.
compounding by like
I
she's like
found it. Yeah.
using
Okay.
extra ferrochemy to like increase her bronze. Alamancy.
Yeah, her elemency. That's what I was thinking. Also, imagine what would happen if. What if that's what the Lord Ruler was doing? Where like he would use the thing to like power up his elements or whatever, but he would also use Dolumin or whatever it's called
Mm-hmm.
to make it even more powerful, which is crazy. But you know,
Yeah, he
what
definitely
happens
could
if
have been.
you what happens if you use Duralumin for ATM? You should know. Or gold. What happens with gold?
I'm not saying I don't know. I'm saying we currently don't know, like where we are in the book. I'm not saying if it
You should tell
comes
us.
up or not.
I don't know what I said midnight. Okay, I don't remember shit like 5 seconds ago.
Yeah, so what happens if you burn Duralumin with either ATM or gold?
That's a good question.
Oh my gosh, Darkness. Anyways, I don't think Mythic ever mentioned, but what did you think about the epigraph and what he means by all they believe may have been corrupted?
He thinks
It's
that
like
the people have been corrupted. I'm pretty sure I did answer it, but maybe I
Did
didn't.
you?
Maybe I was muted. I don't know. I'm dealing with an issue here. My thing keeps disconnecting something, but I don't know what it's disconnecting.
Oh, weird. So we start with Say's point of view as he spends time with the refugees in the warehouse where Kelsier had originally stored all the weapons for overthrowing of Luthadel. There were very few men as Straff had pressed any men of fighting ability to join his army. Sayes notes that there is no furniture and little clothing for the refugees due to shortages in Luthadel. Sayes goes up to a woman named Genadier, who he remembers the name of thanks to his copper mind, and she holds her final living baby. The baby is sick, and Sayes thinks that there is little hope for it, but he tells her that as long as the baby is breathing, there is hope. He also tells her to try to get as much water into the baby as possible, and that he'll ask for her to have an extra serving of food so that she can produce milk for the baby. He thinks that he is unable to preach to this woman. Previously teaching of religions was an act of rebellion, but in the face of what this woman is currently facing, he just couldn't see how a long-dead religion could help her. So what do you think about this, Sage being unable to find in him to preach a religion?
it makes me a bit uncomfortable because that was his whole thing or whatever. But you know, also it was like 3 a.m. or whatever, and I was reading that shit, and all I saw was like eat so you can suck. You know?
Oh my
And I'm like, what the
gosh.
fuck are they talking about?
So the question was,
You okay there,
what we
Mythic?
think. Yeah, sorry. What we think of
Sage
Say's
being unable to
unable
preach.
to want to preach this religion thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, of course, he's probably starting to second guess some things. Also, I don't think she really needed to hear anything about religion.
Yeah, I think it was probably the right move, but it's still weird on Saze's part. Because he's usually always like being like, I have the perfect religion for you right now.
He could have just made up a religion of like suck or something.
Yeah, like, it just sucks. Mm-hmm.
Gosh. So Tynwald then arrives and notes that Sage has been there almost all day. Shay says that there are many wounded and he is one of...
I said, I wonder why.
Sage states that there are many wounded here and he is one of the best here to treat them. He also states that Breeze is here to help soothe the refugees. Sage glances over at Breeze, who is reading in a chair wearing a nice suit, which makes him stand out. Sage worries for the people in Luthadel due to the poisoned well and thinks that there has also been a sabotage to the food stores. Tyndall says he really does care for the people, and Sage says he should care more. She asks where his bronze mine is, and he says he used it up on his way to Luthadel because of how eager he had been about what he had found. However, he thinks that with all that has been going on in Luthadel, he has found little time to actually study it. Suddenly, Tyndall tells Sage to show her what he found, and he immediately perks up and says he would love to. So were you surprised that Tyndall decided to show an interest in Sage's work?
I was surprised because like I low-key thought she was just gonna belittle him the whole time. But okay. It makes sense why it happened, like right after.
Were you surprised, Mythic?
I can't honestly remember. even though I read this literally like hours ago. But
No problem.
can't honestly remember if I was surprised at it. I think it was just more of I've been wanting them to bone for the entire time since I met her. So
They can't bone without a bone.
I know. Well, I mean, they can. He just has to put something on.
Oh my
But
gosh. We're not getting into that.
well,
So
I mean, I told you we were going to as soon as it came up. So
we switched to Breeze's point of view, which I really like having Breeze's point of view. I think it's probably one of my favorite parts of this episode.
We know you're you're on the Breeze love.
I love Breeze. He's such a good character.
I like Breeze as a person. I don't like his point of views.
Oh.
I agree with Breeze mostly. I feel like I'm a big Breeze fan. The only thing I don't like about Breeze is his relationship with Alrian. As I said, I'll bring that up.
That's just because you don't like her. I just don't like her.
Well, I don't like her, and the main issues I have with her are coming up this episode.
You let that cloud in your mind, though. You just don't like her.
I don't like their age difference. I don't like her as a person, and I don't like how her powers affect him.
It's only like 10.
I don't like
years.
There's
I don't like Breeze.
18-year difference.
It's only like 10 years, you know.
It's 18 years. He's twice her age. He literally says that. Anyways, so we have Breeze's point of view as he silently congratulates himself on a job well done as the two terracemen leave the warehouse. He thinks about how people misunderstand soothing.
Misunderstands, yeah.
Misunderstands soothing, and that it's more manipulative than speaking confidently, or a woman wearing a low-cut dress. He doesn't think it's wrong to soothe Say's fatigue, so he can spend more time with the refugees, and thinks that soothing Tyndall's disappointment in Sage doesn't create the feelings of respect and love that replace it. Breeze glances at his pocket watch, noting that he has a few more minutes here before settling back into his chair again. He soothes the refugees' grief and pain, although it's difficult to focus on specifics with a group this large. He notes that he isn't truly reading the book that he's holding. Instead, he's studying the refugees in the warehouse. He thinks that soothing is more about observing people and understanding them than just allomancy. Breeze then thinks about Sage and Tyndall again. He thinks of them as an odd pair and notes that everyone else seems to think they hate each other, but he doesn't see it that way, although he wonders how it all came about with Sage being a eunuch and all. So at this point, were you surprised that there seemed to be a romantic connection between them, Tyndall and Sage?
Low-key,
I was super happy.
I was surprised, but I didn't mind it, because, I guess.
So Ellen and Ham then come in, and Breeze instantly begins soothing Ellen to make him less tired and less uncertain. He also makes Ham a bit less argumentative, as he isn't in the mood for Ham's prattling. Ellen comes over to Breeze and asks about Sage, to which Breeze mentions how he had just left. Ellen then tells Ham he wants the clothing merchants to come here and be upset so they can think about how increasing the pricing of clothing is affecting people. Breeze wonders how the others can't seem to notice how non-confrontational Ham is, and that although he argues with his friends, he doesn't like to do so with strangers. He soothes Ham's worries with a bit due to this. Ellen then asks if Breeze plans to stay all night, and Breeze says of course not, and that Ellen was lucky to find him here at all. Ham says that Breeze is going to need to learn to think about people at some point, and Breeze mentions that he's going to be heading out now, and that he has his own carriage waiting for him. So what do you think about Ham's kind of view of Breeze versus how Breeze actually is when we get to see from Breeze's point of view? Because Ham's kind of like, you need to think about people more, but this whole time Ham is thinking oh, I need to soothe these people's grief. I'm soothing Ellen's tiredness. I want to make Ham less argumentative. He actually seems to be thinking about people the whole time.
Or is he really just thinking about how he can manipulate a situation so that it works out in their favor?
By the way, she meant Breeze, not Ham. Anyway.
No, I said Ham's point of view versus how we see from Breeze's. Because Ham's the one who said...
No, you were Ham is worrying about soothing all these people.
Oh, did I? Sorry.
Yeah, but I don't know. Breeze is I don't like... I like him as a person. I don't like his point of view, and I don't like the way he thinks, especially about soothing.
I don't know. I really agree with it. I feel like that's how I see. I kind of see soothing the same way Breeze does.
But the thing is, he's invading shit he's really not supposed to. If things are gonna go that way, they're gonna go that way for a reason, and he shouldn't be that reason. Because what if he fucking influences something in a wrong way when he's thinking he's influencing it in a right way?
He does make the comment later, though. He does make the comment later about the fact that it's not brainwashing. So, because if they walked out of there, they would kind of lose that and most of the time he's just pushing on them, and then they
That's what I'm
keep it
saying,
after
though.
they walk
Like,
out. So
even though it's not brainwashing, you can still, if a person goes and gets the urge to, like, let's say, like, burn down a building or whatever, but their common sense is stronger than that urge, and he's like, you know what, fuck it, let me just fucking amplify that urge.
Well, he can't
They're gonna
amplify. He
fucking
can
do it.
only
yeah, you can only
dampen.
soothe. You can
It's
He
only
could.
it's
lower it.
still the same thing as amplifying if you like dull everything else,
Mm.
because that's the only thing
Okay.
that's
Yeah,
more
but then
potent.
when they leave him, they're like, wait a second, why the fuck was I thinking of burning down a
Yeah.
building?
Exactly.
Yeah, but at that point, he's already doing it.
Well, that's
I
what I'm
don't
saying
know.
though. But like, what he's saying is that he's not doing that to people because when they walk away, they're still the same way. They're still feeling the same way. Like he's literally
Yeah,
just. He's
but
basically like it would be like if somebody came in, right, and they were to talk you out of doing something stupid, and you then left and were like, "Why did that person talk me out of doing something stupid? I'm gonna go do something stupid," But or in his point of view, it's they walk away and they're like, I'm really happy that that person talked to me and told me, that I shouldn't do this, except he's doing it using an ability
Instead
and
of
he's doing it
talking.
subtly.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing it subtly.
yeah, but he's also like it also tells him a whole different perspective that he wouldn't know otherwise.
I
What do
feel
you
like
mean?
he's just nudging them in the direction they need to be nudged into. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, I don't like him. I don't like him in general, but
It's just
I just don't
it's
like
just that
soothing or rioting all that
you
much.
guys think he's doing the right thing, but it's the fact that he's doing the quote unquote right thing on his perspective.
Well, yeah, I mean,
but
is
as
your perspective different? Would you rather the person go burn a building down?
yeah, but as
Well,
we
I
were
mean, that's the thing. That's their choice because I wouldn't know about it otherwise.
but that's the thing is like there it's as Bree says, it's like no different than being like a very like being really good with your words. It's just in a different way. Like if you were talking to someone like I'm gonna go burn down this building, and they like convince you either they're like oh yeah that's a great idea like they're really good
Yeah,
at
but the
convincing
thing
you to
is,
go do that. That's no different than
I'm
using
not
allomancy.
I'm not saying that like it's not something he could do without it. It's the fact that he knew what to do because of it.
I mean, I don't think he knows. I think he's just can pick up on the
What do you mean he knows what to do? Because like they say
Because
specifically that he can't tell what people are feeling
Mm-hmm.
because of his ability. He has to be able to tell by seeing body language and facial expressions.
Yeah.
He can't just tell what people are feeling. He only can see that Ellen's fatigued because of the way he's like his face looks or the way he's walking. So he's like, I can specifically choose to dampen fatigue. If Ellen wasn't fatigued at all, it wouldn't really affect him.
yeah, that's fair.
Because that's the whole
Yeah,
thing.
I
It's
mean,
like it's
he's using his outside perspective, then using his powers to
like
amplify
he
the.
can't force someone to go set fire to a building if they aren't already thinking about doing it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Like he can't suddenly put that thought into their mind. It's if they're debating whether doing that and he can somehow tell either by what they're saying or how they're like because he just knows them well, then he can potentially influence that. But he can't like just be like, "Oh, I'm going to like dampen their um
But dampen every other thing except
like
them
dampen
wanting to burn
everything
it.
except for like recklessness." That doesn't mean they're technically going to go burn a building. It might just mean they're going to go like out drinking or do whatever it does whatever they do when reckless.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's still
I
there.
don't know. I just
There.
still think it's like super invasive, but
I agree with you. I agree with you in that part. I do still think that I don't like the soothing rioting thing because literally you're pretty much manipulating people. But if you do it in the right way, it's the same as anybody else who manipulates people, with their words in general.
Yeah.
So like, it's still the same thing. Like, I don't like the people that do that like manipulate people into doing like, like the speakers that go on like the talk, on like the tours and talk to people and try to tell them how they can become millionaires or whatever. But really, they're just trying to get money out of it. Like
Yeah.
those kinds of people. That's kind of how I feel like what Breeze's power is able to do. He's able to, or Breeze and whatever her name is, I don't remember it again. Yeah, are able to do where they can amplify or dampen things to make it so that basically they tell you something and you believe it, or to that extent.
I mean,
Like
with
they're
this,
able to manipulate shit.
yeah, well, like the Say situation, like as he says, like he doesn't create the respect and love that Tindwyl feels for Sage. He dampens her annoyance, but if she didn't have any feelings for Sage, she would just be like kind of calm or like whatever about him afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
She wouldn't like be like, oh, I want to spend time with him. She'd just be like, maybe he's not so annoying. I can't be bothered either way about him. If she actually like really didn't like him and he dampened her annoyance.
But I do agree with you, Darkness. It's a manipulative thing.
Mm.
Either way, it's manipulation.
Yeah, it's just not more manipulation
just
than
because he
anyone
uses
else.
it right. Yeah,
Yeah.
just because he uses it the right way doesn't make it not manipulation. I mean,
Yeah,
I
understand this manipulation. I just don't feel like
we're looking at things. I think we're looking at things, and then like Darkness or not Darkness. Midnight's over here already hating on this girl because she does the same thing with the end of the verse.
I don't like how she
right?
uses specifically for a relationship. And like we'll get into it in a minute. I'll go into like my exact thoughts once we're actually.
And Midnight's like, I want to soothe her life to an end.
So we time skip to a bit to Breeze back at Keep Venture. As he passes the guards, he soothes them to make them less fatigued and makes the maids more chatty so their work passes quicker. He then eventually gets to a solitary dining area where Clubs is waiting for him, noting him as late. Breeze responds that Clubs is early, and Clubs says it's the same thing. Breeze asks if Clubs' copper cloud is up, and Clubs replies that it's always up around Breeze. Clubs then asks why Breeze drinks with him every night if he likes soothing people, and Breeze responds that soothing is wonderful, but that it's second nature to him, and he's always tweaking people's feelings and emotions. It's changed the way he looks at people and makes it hard to be friends with people when you just see them as someone to be influenced and changed. Clubs notes that this is why they never see Breeze with women, and Breeze agrees and thinks to himself that no matter how much he thinks he isn't manipulating people with allomancy, it's hard not to second-guess himself when someone comes to love him. So what do you think about how Breeze likes to be around Clubs due to Clubs being a smoker and Breeze's relationship with others?
I mean, makes sense.
I think deep down, he's always going to realize that he's actually manipulating them, and he's using Clubs as a fucking form of like self-reassurance.
Like that's the thing though. Like even if he wasn't though, he would still feel like that.
Yeah, he's very insecure about like he's like his beliefs. Like he's kind of stated several times where he's like, I don't believe this is any different than like just being really confident and charismatic, but also like he always second guesses himself. And as he said,
probably
like,
because multiple people have said this to him.
Yeah.
Including this copper cloud man.
Yeah. So he feels like he can relax a bit more around Clubs because he knows he's not doing anything with his allomancy around him. Any other thoughts on that?
I like their genuine conversation.
Yeah, I kind of like them just like hanging out together.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice.
It's like because I watch Critical Role, so there's a woman in there named Imogen who like her entire life she could hear people's voices and she didn't want to, and then she finally gets a circlet that makes it so that she can't hear anything, and it's like bliss. And that's kind of what I see for like him. He goes and he hangs out with him, and then he's just like, well, I can't feel like I'm manipulating this person, so this is a nice feeling.
Yeah, even if he knows that he subconsciously might be trying, he knows it's not going to work.
Mm-hmm. I like it. I feel like he's too powerful, though. He could probably push through it.
So Breeze mentions how Clubs almost didn't join the crew because of him, and Clubs states that he doesn't trust soothers even without their ability to use allomancy on him. However, he states that Breeze isn't as bad as most. Breeze takes that as a grand compliment and states that Kelsier ruined them, causing both him and Clubs to care and feel responsibility for the people of Luthadel after he died. They then toast Kelsier with a damn him. Alrian then enters the room, and Desire immediately blooms within Breeze, making him internally call himself a dirty old man since she is half his age. He asks if she shouldn't be in bed, and she states that she is 18, not 10. He thinks that he shouldn't let her near him, but he doesn't move when she sits next to him and drinks from his cup. We switch to Vin's point of view as she tells Orisur that Alrian is a rider, and she's been making Breeze more attracted to her. She doesn't think Alrian would be a Mistborn, but then remembers that neither Cliss nor Shan had been one when she had thought neither of them had been who she had thought they had been. She notes that Breeze must be attracted to Alrian at least a bit without her riding in order to not notice when she's riding him. So were you surprised to learn that Alrian was riding Breeze, and how do you feel about her making him feel more desire for her?
I mean, hey, girl wants what she wants. I feel like he should already know.
Yeah,
if he didn't want it,
Low key, yeah, it's kind of the same concept, right? Where
Mm-hmm.
like if it wasn't original, like it's
Wasn't
not
there
really.
already?
Yeah.
So my biggest issue with Alrian
Mm-hmm.
is I feel like she is not taking a no as a no, and it's very anti-consent. Like she is like he's in his mind he's like yes I have feelings for her, but he specifically is like I don't want to be with her. She's half my age. I don't feel comfortable with this, and she's pushing that boundary constantly until he gives in. The writing makes it worse, but even without the writing, I feel like that's really fucked up of her. And I really don't like it for her. And the fact that she, every time she enters the room, she's like, oh, feel lustful for me, feel desire. Like, every single
Mm-hmm.
time she enters the room and is around him is like, I feel like it's really rapey. And I hate her. Like, Breeze's whole thing is like, I don't want to feel like I'm forcing people to love me. And she's all about, like, I'm going to try and force you to love me. And it really
Hey man,
makes me
she
uncomfortable.
wants what she wants. She wants what she wants, and they got powers. So
Yeah, but it's
you
so
know.
rapey. I hate it. I
I
hate her.
mean, I
It's
mean, we've been talking about a lot of rapey shit in this book, okay, and that's literally the least rapey thing.
yeah,
Like
but this is like
they're literally raping Ska, and
yes,
like
but we know
there's
that's
no
bad, and I'm saying
choice.
this is also bad.
I mean, I
I
feel
think it's
like
less
I feel like
bad
it's
because
bad, but I
they're
also feel like it's the same idea of manipulation. So
yeah.
I find
like
it
that's
different because it's I find this is going too far, and like Breeze even as I said, like he's like no, doing that to someone you love and care about and trying to force someone to love you is definitely going too far. Like that's his whole thing. Like I feel
But
like
I
there's
mean,
definitely
he loves and cares about Says and Tindwell, but he still manipulated their emotions.
he didn't force them to be more desirable though.
But
He
he did manipulate their emotions to make it so
a
that she
little
didn't
bit, but
feel as annoyed. What's
but
a
also
little
he's
bit?
not currently like manipulating them while they're like in a room together and potentially like for all we
No,
know
but he did it
Alrian's writing
already.
the whole time they're like having intimate
I mean,
relations and everything.
for all we know, she's not.
I just don't trust her, and I feel really uncomfortable with their relationship. Reason Alrian. Like I didn't like her before.
Feel
I thought
uncomfortable
she
with
was
their
rather.
relationship because she's double his age,
Yes,
but
I also feel that.
I
But
don't feel uncomfortable about the fact that she's using powers because like Priest does the same shit,
no,
and he
I
just does
find
it
this specific case is different.
You see, that's what I don't think you understand, Midnight. The fact that even though powers can be used quote unquote responsibly, there will always be consequences.
I mean, and you're still adjusting other people's like feelings in one way or another, so it is manipulating them into feeling a different way than they may or may not have felt in general. Like you say, or he says, it's like, oh, I only nudged their emotion a little bit so that they would feel less annoyed around him. But like maybe she's just, in her opinion, she's just nudging his emotions so that he'll feel a little more lustful towards her. Like, it's all about perspective. I mean, she wants what she wants. She has the power to do so, and she's going to attempt to use it. It's the same idea as a man walking out and being like, "I have millions of dollars. I'll throw $1 million at this person." And even though they don't want to, maybe the $1 million will make them want to do it a little more. Give them a little bit more of a reward for it. I mean, I agree with you. It's terrible, but so is what Breeze does. So
I don't know. I just have a
still
hard time
manipulation.
with Alrian more than
Yeah, that's because you
Breeze.
don't like her.
But I definitely see like I think going into what you guys said, like I think yeah, it's definitely about like being charismatic and also having these powers. Like it's definitely about how good the person is and how they use them. Like you can be charismatic and be an absolutely horrible evil person, or you can use your charisma to like motivate people and be like a good person. And I feel like it's the same with their powers. You can use them for good or evil, and I feel like Breeze generally uses it for good, and Alrian is using it for a bad purpose, which is I think
But I mean, that's your perspective of it, though. You know what
yeah,
I'm
that's
saying?
my perspective, and yeah,
Yeah,
it just makes me very uncomfortable with Alrian.
because their perspective could be different. Like if let's for instance, let's say like he nudged them so that she was less annoyed with him, right? and later they find out that that's what happened, and that's why they did. Maybe they start second guessing why they did what they did and why they feel the way they feel, and that also can create a very big issue later on, because then you don't know if your feelings are actually real.
Mm.
And he's the one that caused that, so that would then turn on to him and being a bad person for doing so. Where it may have turned that same way, maybe it would have taken a little longer, but it might have still gone down that path, but they wouldn't have the feeling like, oh well, maybe I didn't actually feel this, because it was their feelings and their genuine time. Where he pushed it to make it happen sooner rather than later, and they're gonna now be second guessing all of their emotions.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think it's using things for good and bad. Like I kind of see, like, if we relate it to like real life stuff again, it's kind of like he's like almost going up to like trying to like, if we relate to like a talking thing, like talking to him, like, oh, Sage isn't actually that annoying. Like, these are all his good points. Look at like, and like trying to like hype him up basically to Tyndall in a more charismatic way than I can.
And if she were to say, oh no, I don't feel that way, and he continued to press the issue, it'd be the same idea though.
But as far as we know, he's only done this the one time, whereas
as far as we know.
Whereas
definitely she has stated she's done it numerous times.
Yeah, Alrian's definitely been doing it a lot.
A lot. But I mean, we're just talking about the one incident though, with Seize and
yeah, I don't know.
He could have done this with multiple people.
Yeah, so. Again, like I feel like the power in itself is not good or evil. It's it's the person who uses it that is.
I feel like it's manipulated. I feel like it's manipulative anyways. Either way, no matter how you use it, it's manipulative.
Again, I don't see it any different than like having really good charisma.
I agree, but maybe her charisma is just that good too.
No, but that's what I'm saying. But in my opinion, she's using it in a bad way, and he's not.
How can you say it's not a bad way though? Like, if you're making other people begin to second guess themselves, if like they found out, that you manipulated their emotions, then it's still. But
as I said again, if we relate it to charisma, like I don't feel like.
Even if it's charisma, if you walk up to somebody and you're like, "Hey, I think this person really wants to be with you," and whatever, and they're not as annoying and all that, and you continue to press the issue until they begin to be like, "Okay, well maybe you're right," and then they go into that thing, and then they don't know if it's just because you stated it or if they actually feel that. Is it because you told them to feel this way, or is it just because, I actually felt this way?
I don't know. I feel like you can still make your own decisions.
And, I mean, Maurice can still make his own decisions. He's just being coerced into a different decision that maybe she wanted more.
Yeah, again, as I said, it's just, I feel like, again, she's just using it for a not great reason.
I agree. But, I mean, that's your opinion on something and you don't like her, so. I mean, you didn't like her from the moment she walked in the door.
Yeah, I disliked her, and then when I got to this part the first time reading, I was like, oh, I really fucking don't like her.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you started, as soon as she walked through the door and said, Breezy, you were like, I don't like this girl at all.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, if it was the other way around, where Breeze was, like, using his powers to manipulate her into liking him, I would have probably stopped liking Breeze. And been like, oh, okay, Breeze is actually a terrible person now.
Well, why doesn't he soothe her down then?
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like, why, if she's rioting his emotions, could he not also, in turn, soothe hers?
I don't know. We don't know if he's tried to soothe her or not.
Well, I mean, you might know, but
I can't say anything if I know.
Oh, okay. More to say why we hate her.
My biggest take on all this thing is the fact that we know that this is genetic, right?
Yeah.
High chance that's,
Or her mother was, yeah.
Yeah, technically it could be her mom.
Mm-hmm.
But to be fair, like, I don't think that would matter.
I mean, we know that with most nobles, they're going to have some sort of allomantic bloodline, but not, just like Elend, that doesn't mean necessarily they will be. So yes, her having powers could mean that Zed has them, but it also doesn't have to mean that. So it still doesn't really... But we do know that there's at least one Allomancer in their family. Anyways, we went on a long tangent with that.
Oh yeah, I know.
Passion about it.
I figured we were going to.
So Vin also knows that Clubs is not the Khandra, as he was using Allomancy. Oriser doesn't understand how she could know that, as Mistborn or Misting shouldn't be able to sense copper, but Vin just says she knows. Oriser then brings up that she thought Demo was the spy anyways, and Vin says she had wanted to check clubs before she did anything drastic. She then tells Oriser that it's time to go, as it's time to put Demo in prison. So, why do you think Vin didn't tell Oriser that she can pierce copper clouds?
I mean, because it's obviously something that's not common. So there's literally one other person that could do that potentially. I'm not even sure. I don't
The
remember.
Lord Ruler.
I think she said Inquisitors are able to as well, generally.
The Lord Ruler.
So technically Marsh probably can also, but we just don't know where the fuck he
Yeah,
is.
but like she doesn't have spikes out of her fucking eyes.
Yeah, the only non-Inquisitor that we know of was the Lord Ruler. That could
What
do
if
it.
she? Never mind. Nothing.
Oh, okay.
Alright, what were you gonna say?
Something dumb, but it's okay.
Okay.
I mean, you say dumb shit all the time.
Wow.
Say it.
Never.
Okay.
So we take time to skip a bit to Vin talking to a servant who she had asked to watch Demo. Apparently he had left on patrol and she hadn't thought it wise to follow him. He had apparently just left though, so Vin and Oriser rush off, dropping down to the courtyard from out a window. She runs into a few soldiers and asks them if they had seen Demo and where he went. They point, and Vin and Oriser once again hurry off. She eventually spots Demo, but instead of attacking instantly, she doubts whether she really thinks Demo is the Kandra or if she just wants him to be so she doesn't have to suspect someone else. Thus she follows him and finds him going to a group of around 200 Ska around a fire in one of the squares. Demo begins to speak to the Ska, telling them not to fear the Mists as the Survivor gave them the Mists. Vin realizes that Demo is a follower of the Church of the Survivor, and he preaches about how much hardship Kelsier went through, and how they must also endure hardship and live on. Demo speaks about Vin, too, how she became more powerful than Kelsier, as she has about as much training as he did. He tells them that Vin will bring back the sun and stop the ash from falling. So are you surprised that Demo is part of the Church of the Survivor?
I was.
Yeah.
Yeah. And shit, I don't even know, but like as soon as I saw that he was saying all that stuff, I was like, he's not it, you know? And I don't know, I kind of really liked him after that, but that means he's gonna die, so good luck, sir.
He's probably gonna die, honestly.
You said you were also surprised, Mythic, or no?
Yeah, I was surprised he was a follower of the Church of whatever, the Survivor, but aside from that, man.
The more he spoke about it, the happier I got, low-key. And then I was like, yeah, you're gonna die. Let's go.
Let's go. So Demo then tells them that they need to convince the Assembly to vote for Elend, as Vin had chosen him and loves him. Even if he seems weak, the other men just seem strong because they think they can oppress the Ska. Vin then settles into a more comfortable position on the roof and listens to Demo speak to the Ska. She notes that what he speaks of is more simple than the religion Sage tries to teach, but that the Ska need simplicity for now, as all they have is to either struggle on or give up. Vin wonders how Demo knows of what Kelsier told her about the way the world used to be before the Lord Ruler's Ascension, as it had only been described in some of the most obscure texts. So how do you think Demo learned of the world from before the Ascension?
So I sat here and thought for a long time on that, like 2 or 3 hours ago, about the fact that, like, if he was the Kandra, it would make sense, like, because they would have more knowledge, past certain things. And then it started making me think, well, if he is the Kandra, then maybe he's starting to second guess himself and his mission and all of that. And he's trying to make amends, even though he knows he has to, fulfill his contract. So he's trying to do good as well at the same time. Because, I mean, we have seen that, like, her Kandra seems to do his own thing too, occasionally, but still tries to stay within the contract,
Mm-hmm.
So.
And I mean, if he is the Kandra spy, he's like, well, I do know that Demo got, like, that, like, the whole thing that happened to him in the caves with, like, Kelsier and everything, like, maybe this would make sense for him, so I can do this without it being out of character.
Yeah, it's definitely, I definitely feel what Orisa, right? That's the dog's name? Orisa says about the fact that, like, she can't really tell whether it's him or Doxson, right? Doxson's the other one that, because they both gave her things that pretty much are like, well, no, maybe they're not a Kandra, but like, like he said, you can't really be sure because they do their research and all of
Yeah,
that.
they're like
So,
experts at
mhm.
getting this information.
Manipulating people. Yeah, manipulating people into believing who they are.
Impersonations.
Yep, manipulation. Yep. They
Uh,
manipulate their bodies to shape in a certain way, and they manipulate other people around them to believe that they are the person. They just do it with words.
So after the meeting is over, Vin decides that she thinks Demo either isn't the spy or the spy is going to be extremely hard to unmask. She then asks
Well,
Oriser if Kelsier ever told him to teach about the things Demo was just speaking on, which Oriser replies no. Vin then drops down to the ground and greets Demo. He tells her that he didn't want her to know he was part of the church because he knows it makes her uncomfortable. Vin suggests telling Ellen, but Demo doesn't want the crew to think he's pandering to people. Vin is surprised that he seems to actually believe in the church despite having known Kelsier, and Demo says he feels like Kelsier has some sort of power. He states he knows about what Kelsier did using him back then, but sometimes he still feels like Kelsier is guiding his blade. Vin then asks where he had heard about the yellow sun and the green plants, and Demo states that he thought Kelsier taught it and that everyone was talking about it. Vin tries to press from where he had heard it first, but he says he doesn't know. Vin then says she's to go back to the palace and that she'll tell Ellen about the meeting, but will ask him not to tell the rest of the crew. So where do you think all these rumors have come from? Because apparently, like a bunch of the Ska have heard these things about like from beforehand.
I don't know. Like honestly, it's just. I mean, he did. I thought Kelser did say stuff about green plants in the sun before.
He said it only to Vin when they were like together, and he learned it apparently from Mare and Sazed.
Yeah, and so that's what I'm saying. So where did they like? I mean, if Say's learned it, then yeah. But but like where they have, just start tracing that back. But I mean, if I don't know if he, how do we know he actually only told one person? Like he only told one person in the book. Doesn't mean he only told one person.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember him ever stating, I've never told this to anyone else, but the plants were green at one point.
Yeah, well, I think the whole conversation comes up because like he had gone, Doxson had saved this like painting or drawing that Mare had done of what Sazed had described to her, of like a flower, that like what we would consider a flower, and so he like grabs it and he's like, I think shows it to Vin, and it's like, while he's talking to Mare, he talks about it, but he doesn't really talk about it outside of talking about Mare. And yeah.
I mean, the other idea I had is that it was Rune, yeah, Rune. I had to think of the god name. That is talking to
Zane.
Wow. Yeah, thank you. Talking to Zane is maybe whispering into these other people's ears too, because maybe if like my theory from before, about like the Lord Ruler or Rashek or whatever, manipulated the world in order to kind of like make it better away from Rune. Like they're trying to not allow Rune to do whatever because he's probably the person that did the deepness. They're trying to stop the deepness. That's what it was. And so would have created like made the sun, or not the sun, made the earth hotter. Then I went through the whole thing before, but it went through all of their steps to become what it is today. And maybe Rune, if it's Rune, I think Rune, or is it Ruin, is trying to manipulate these people into believing something so that they can maybe change that in order for it to like go back to what it was, so he could then come back in with the deepness and take over or do whatever the fuck he's trying to do with the deepness, wipe out humanity. I mean, he's talking in people's ears and making them believe something else. Especially if you don't have the power to do it yourself.
What do you think, Darkness?
What was the question?
Where do you think the rumors came from about the stuff pre-Ascension?
I don't know. At first I was thinking like maybe Saze, because he was going around, teaching people and stuff.
I think that's definitely more likely than Kelsier having told a bunch of people that Sazed might have.
With his religion talk?
Yeah, he'd be like, oh yeah, these religions and these gods were from before the Ascension and the world was green.
And
the sun was in the sky and...
The sun was yellow, not red.
And we didn't have the ash suffocating us.
Well, it's also interesting that he's saying that Vin is going to be the one to bring everything back. specifically. He's not just saying this is how the world was before. He's saying Vin is going to somehow fix everything.
Or maybe it's the good gods. I don't know. Whispering in people's ears. I will give them hope.
The sun's red, huh?
Yeah, the
Sun is red.
The sun is currently red because it's like clouded by like the ash in the atmosphere. That's kind of like distorted it. So like, you know how like when it's like really smoky from forest fires, how the sun kind of looks really red? That's kind of how it looks.
So it's not red.
It's also,
So the
it's
sun,
also
the sun
when
is
you-
actually yellow,
if
but they
you,
can't
like-
see it as yellow. It looks red to them.
Okay.
well, but it's also red if you get when you get closer to it too. Like when you see like the satellite images of it from space and stuff, it's a lot more red than it was than it is
Well,
yellow.
that's because of like the different stages of stars and stuff. So
So
that's what I was
maybe
thinking.
he changed the how far along the star is and
That's what. No,
gonna
that's
blow up.
No, that's genuinely what I was thinking. Like, what if like
Yeah.
it's just like a change of like star phase,
The world or the sun is gonna implode.
and they got
Take
like
the
a,
whole system with it.
they got like a reverse Superman sort of fucking thing where they're like instead of weakening from like a red sun, they fucking got powers and shit.
Oh my god.
But nah, I get it.
Superman.
Super fun or whatever.
I like your theory. We're gonna go with your theory from now on. They're all just kryptonites. Or Kryptonians.
No, they're kryptonites because they get
Yeah,
reversed.
they're all kryptonites. Yeah, they're all kryptonites. Reverse. No, they're all Kryptonians and they're getting power their allomancy powers from the sun.
Just-
The red sun.
The ultimate Forge Guardian.
Yeah.
I still like the theory that you had that they were
About
forged.
them being forges? Yeah, exactly.
From the very
Oh,
beginning of the
no.
first book.
The very beginning of the first book, they eat metal, they steam it out, and that's what became the mist. Yep.
Every time you would say that, I would picture this image. I don't know if y'all seen it, but like it's like this anime where this girl like starts drinking from a pump gas and transform into a fucking car.
What the
Oh
fuck?
wow, never seen that.
No.
Really? Hold on. Let me see if I can.
I'm gonna show you what I see.
I
every
imagine
time
them with
say
like
it.
a like metal door in their stomach. And that's where they just like shove the metal in, and it's like a big hot furnace in the middle of their
It's the
stomach.
sun. It's the
What
sun.
the fuck?
I imagine them transforming like that into a furnace.
Interesting.
Oh
Why is
my
she
god,
a transformer?
I've never seen this
Why
anime.
is she a
That is so funny.
transformer?
That's so good.
Okay.
Mine's just a One Piece fucking reference, but you know, it's just the forge fruit.
Alright, so Orzer then meets up with Vin once Demo leaves, and Vin states that she no longer thinks that Demo is the spy, even if Kandra are very good at being others. She states that, like with Doxon, they'll keep an eye on him, but not arrest him for now. So chapter 37, we have our epigraph. And so I come to the focus of my argument, finally. I apologize. Even forcing my words into steel, sitting and scratching in this frozen cave, I am prone to ramble. So why do you think Quan is specifically doing this in a frozen cave?
He's trapped.
He's trapped in there?
Maybe. Or he's hiding.
Those are good theories. I like those.
You agree then, Mythic? That's why he's in the cave?
They're hiding or like trapped. He was trapped by somebody, or he's
What if
hiding.
he's in the Well of Ascension?
Oh my goodness.
Like the same area that they were in.
I mean, they said it was in a cave, and he is in a frozen cave currently.
And then it's in the terrace.
Yeah, it's up in the Terrace Mountains where it's cold and snowy.
Yeah.
Could be. He could be nearby the well, or in the well.
Or he could be the well. No, I'm just
He's the Well of Ascension.
do they gotta drink him? Anyway.
Okay. I'm first up.
So we start this chapter with Say's point of view, as he notices that it's morning and he and Tindwyl had been working all night.
Twindle. Twindle.
He's surprised he doesn't feel tired and notices
I
that
swear I
Tindwyl,
saw a putty pad.
he notices that Tindwyl doesn't seem tired either, but she may have used some of her bronze mind. Tindwyl suddenly writes something down from one of her copper mines and states that it's from the biography of King Wednigon. The passage states that the Deepness had depleted the food stores. It also specifies that the Deepness had already been defeated or at least weakened. So what do you think about the fact that like the passage, which is written after the Ascension, doesn't say that the Deepness was definitely defeated? It says it's either defeated or weakened.
I think it is weakened, 100%.
I think Davin was completely right, man.
I mean, that's where they're going here.
I definitely agree. I think it's definitely something to do with this mist.
No,
That's-
but like I meant like even though before like they clarified that she was right or whatever,
Yeah.
Mhm.
like I was like, nah, that's it. Like I fucking knew it.
Yeah, I mean, you guys were going on about the mist too for a while.
Uh-huh. It just
You know
makes
what's pissing me off though? Like I where's the mist form that she saw? Like
The mist spirit.
yeah, like why have we not seen it? Like where's the bestie?
Maybe it's what's speaking to the people.
Maybe that's
Finn's
what the
gonna
book's
save the
bringing
world.
to.
Finn's gonna save the world.
So it said mentioned that Tyndall believes Vin about the mist being the deepness, and Sayst also agrees for now. He also mentions that it seems
For
like there
now.
was a he's like the scientific method where things can always be changing. He also mentions that it seems like there was a change in the mists. Tyndall then mentions that this doesn't mean that the mists are coming during the days now though, and that it will mean death for them. Sayst agrees, and Tyndall asks why he never stands up for himself, as there might be some sort of proof or something he can use to argue it. But he's just like, no, yeah, you're right. There's no proof, even though he's technically seen the mists during the day and like got firsthand accounts.
Technically, like this is gonna sound
Throw it
bad.
back down.
This is gonna sound bad,
Mm.
but technically, like the Lord Ruler's system of how he gained like storage of goods and just like stuff in general,
Mm-hmm.
kinda would have really helped when it came to that theory of like they get covered and they can't do anything about it, so they have to use up what they have.
The canneries.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like he low-key was trying to prevent that. Like just in case he ever like failed and stuff.
Interesting. So you think the Lord Ruler was even better, the person?
Yeah, he was the
And
perfect ruler. Like
Mhm.
I don't think the Lord Ruler was a terrible person in general. I think he just went about it the wrong way.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think his methods were terrible, but you know, he wasn't a terrible person. He did it for the right reasons, I think.
Mhm.
Just
I
like
think he
Vin
just did the wrong things, you know.
Yeah. So I
It's
had a
like, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna go into because I technically had a question here, but you guys started talking, so I was just gonna say I had my actual
Yeah, go
question
ahead.
for this spot. Which was, do you think the deepness will get as bad as it was previous to the Lord Ruler ascending? So like, do you think it's gonna be so bad that it's like completely killing crops and like
Yeah.
all sorts of things?
Yeah, I think that's when they're
Yeah.
gonna start realizing they need to actually go to the Well of Ascension,
Yep, exactly.
which is literally going to be at the very end of this book.
That's what I said, bro. Like
Yeah,
I'm
like
gonna be so
they're gonna like walk over a hill and be like, there it is.
Do you think that's gonna be the Sanderlanche then?
Yeah, probably. Oh, we haven't even gotten there yet, have we?
No, we haven't
Holy
gotten to
shit.
we're just a little over
that's what I was
halfway.
that's what I was thinking last night. I was like, this is taking a while to get like spontaneous everything left and right.
I mean, the Sanderlanche is usually only the last like part of the book or part and a half
That's
of the
not
book.
true. That's not true.
What do you mean it's not true?
I'm pretty sure like we had like I don't know, I feel like this
No,
book
I'm pretty
is
sure it was. I think you're talking about Elantris, and Elantris was like middle of most of the book, but yeah.
Well, Elantris says Sanderlanche was technically just from Rowden like basically coming back to life and like being fucking overpowered as shit.
I don't know, low key I felt like that was more like a standard rubble. Like a little earthquake.
It's a rebel.
Because I felt like most of the important stuff, like the just spontaneous, like here left and right type of shit, was in the middle for that book.
Yeah, where like it was just constant changing of people. Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty sure that was
I
it
think
was
it
in the middle of the book.
started with
And then yeah, I think they had like pretty much like had a double Sanderlanche kind of thing. It
yeah,
was
I think it started with the king and his fucking cult or whatever. I think that's where it fucking started.
king and his cult when they killed the king because he was being a stupid ass.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. I'm gonna kill these scholarly maids.
Well, naked in
Nobody
the
will see.
sewers.
Nobody will see it. Oh.
If only they were Ska.
So Tinwellan says she is going to leave to speak with Straff instead, although she doesn't think they'll be as open to her guidance as Elend was. Tinwellan asks why Sage doesn't argue again, and that sometimes people do things only because they have not been given any other options. Sage says that he cannot be what she wishes as he is not a man, but Tyndall says she's had enough of men during her childbearing years. Tyndall states that although she felt pride in what she was doing, she resented the Synod as they didn't seem to want to change anything. When she finished with her childbearing years, she found the only man who had tried to do anything was cast out and didn't even try to defend himself. After her monologue, she asks Sage to give her an excuse, and Sage tells her
Oh,
that
you're gonna go through the monologue? It was such a good monologue.
You want me to read out the monologue? I can read out the monologue.
I want you to read it out. Her
Right.
wonderful monologue.
Yeah. I only ever saw one man pushing the Synod towards active measures. While they planned how to keep themselves hidden, one man wanted to attack. While they decided the best ways to foil the breeding masters, one man wanted to plot the downfall of the final empire. When I rejoined my people, I found that man still fighting, alone, condemned for fraternizing with thieves and rebels. He quietly accepted his punishment. That man went on to free us all.
Now, see, the reason I asked you to read it, also because I really wanted to hear it again, but
Yeah.
because I have been saying it from the beginning that he is a lot like the guy who is writing all this, rambling on about all this shit.
Quan.
Yeah, where he is doing things, and the other people of this major group are like, no, don't do that. This isn't true. He's like, nah, it's true. We need to do this, and he's the one standing among many. And it's just like Quan, who, I mean, at first was before was also the one against many, and then the many changed, and he was again the one against many. So I think Seize is Quan.
Do you think he's going to be the announcer then? Although I guess if Alendi never truly was the hero of ages, Quan never truly was the announcer.
Mm-hmm. So now Seize Quan will be the announcer.
Y'all got it all wrong, bro.
Oh yeah? Go, Darkness. Tell us all why we're wrong.
So, I think that this sudden turn of events, indicates that Tinder over here has seen something
You call her
in
Tinder?
Seize, right? Yeah.
Tinder. Tinder.
So it kind of fits, right? Anyway.
No, it doesn't.
Shut up. um, shit, I forgot. She sees something in Seize, right?
Mhm.
So, what if, hear me out, she's the announcer and Seize is the hero of legend?
The hero of ages, you mean?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Hero of legend.
And then he jumps into the well. And then he becomes the new Lord Ruler.
Interesting.
I think he's gonna become a god.
The god of religion.
Yeah, actually, something to that extent. God of
Imagine,
history.
imagine if like the only reason they specialized in certain areas was because if they ascended, that's what they were gonna be.
Hmm.
Does that
I
mean
don't
if
like that.
Tyndall ascended, she'd be the god of kings?
I I'd say it'd be more like the goddess of etiquette or something,
Goddess of etiquette.
What if Rashek was actually the hero of ages, and because they killed him, now they need, history or not history, fate needs another hero of ages. Maybe Rashek was the right.
Ultimately, imagine if like Vin, even if she's not really the hero of ages, but she like believes that she is, because like
And she's
you know,
another Alendi. Yeah.
yeah, like imagine she like pulls a Rashek and she's like, fuck you, pushes the person out of the way and just fucking dives in, becomes immortal. She's like there for the next era to get dethroned.
Yeah, it's possible. Like I said, I still have the belief that Rashek
Oh my god.
wasn't doing what was wrong. He was doing what he thought was right, and everybody else just thinks it's wrong.
You know what I just realized though? Like
Mm.
if 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 the one thing that would make them, I feel, do a selfish deed more than like thinking for the people and stuff
Mm-hmm.
would be if they lost each other. Ellen or Vin. Like if Ellen lost Vin or if Vin lost Ellen.
You think they would try and use the power to like bring the other person back or something?
Yeah.
Well,
Imagine like Vin not wanting the power at all. Like she literally like just wants to be whatever with Ellen, and Ellen is like in danger or dies, and she's like, you know what, final straw.
Interesting.
But yeah, that's just headcanon or whatever.
You also made me think of a question when you were talking about how like if Finn like jumped in and became the next Rashek. If someone does become the next hero of ages, do you think they'll also last for 1,000 years, and do you think then they'll be in Era 2 as like the ruler
That's
of?
why, yeah, that's why they got another Mistborn book coming out eventually.
It's like Mistborn modern ages.
Thousand years. I mean, Midnight did already spoil the fact that
It's
each
300
one
years.
gets a little further into the future.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but that
maybe
doesn't
I mean,
mean
instead of 1,000, Vin only made 300.
But yeah, so I mean, Brennan revealed before books were out that yeah, the next series is kind of like it's like industrial era / Western era 2, and then era 3 is supposed to be like Cold War era, and then era 4 of Mistborn is going to be like space age.
Or something. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
okay. I don't really know if I'm gonna like the next era then.
I am not the biggest fan of Mistborn Era 2, which is one of the reasons why I put it after. I mean, there's other reasons why, because I'm like, I think it's good to have a break from Mistborn before going into Era 2, but also like, yeah, I'm like, I'd rather go into Stormlight and then do Era 2 later.
I wanna go to space.
That's Era 4.
I mean, that's
That's gonna be a
not out
long
yet.
way away.
No,
That's
that's okay. We could start there.
It's not out.
I know, but we can start there.
How?
So we're just not doing the podcast until
Yeah.
For like a decade.
I could imagine we finish this book and then we're just like, all right, we'll see you in 10 years.
Oh my gosh.
How many fans do you think we keep in then?
You hear like children in like my background and stuff.
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
Oh my god, Midnight would have grown as children.
They wouldn't be like super grown, but they'd be like elementary school kids.
well, I mean, you already have kids now, right? So
I have cats.
yeah, you have kids.
Yeah, they'd be old.
You-
My cats would be
You're just
old.
saying it wrong, you know?
Anyways, so we were at Sazed. So she tells Sazed to give her an excuse, and Sazed tells her that he would like her to stay. When she raises an eyebrow, he rephrases and asks her to please stay, and she says she will then. So what did you think of their little relationship and conversation there?
So happy.
I don't like her.
You don't like her?
You don't like Says either, though.
I do. I like Sage hell of a lot more than I like her.
God.
It's not that I didn't like Sage, it's that I didn't trust him.
You said directly you didn't like him.
No, I'm pretty sure I said I didn't trust him most of the books.
Yeah,
But
he
I
said he
really
didn't
couldn't.
trust him. I don't know. I don't remember if he said he didn't like him, but he definitely said he doesn't trust Sazed for a lot of first book.
Yeah, but like he never betrayed them, so I'm expecting him to betray them
Yeah.
the next book at least, and
Hmm.
then maybe I'll dislike him.
So we switch to Ellen's point of view, as Ham joins him up on Luthadel's walls. He apparently found Ellen because of the soldiers who are taking more notice of him, thinking of Ellen more as a commander lately. He also states that he does spend time with the soldiers, he's just not good at being their leader. As they walk along the wall, Ellen notes that he can see the Kolos army in the distance, although no one seems to know why it took them so long to get here. Jastes also seems to have enough control over them to keep them from attacking the other two armies. So why do you think it took the Kolos so long to get to Luthadel? Because we know they'd been a week out for I think almost a month at this point or more.
Sorry, I was just thinking. I'm pretty sure it's like I think it was a control issue.
You think he was trying to get them back under control or something, and that's why they weren't marching
Is he in the
towards
elemental?
Jastes? As far as we know, he is not. I believe.
Can like emotional elemency be used against conjure?
Used against them? We don't. I mean, we don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know if they're manipulated by it.
Whatever. I got theories, but we're just gonna keep it on deck until we find out more. Right? I'm so upset. Midnight's not giving us nothing.
She never does.
What am I supposed
mean,
to do? Give you a bunch of
she-
spoilers?
Yes, please.
No,
Spoil the whole book for us so we
No.
don't have to read it anymore.
no.
Or how about this? It has 8.5 hours left. I'm just gonna read the rest of it
No,
and see if I'm right about things. You know.
Let me look at some spark notes real quick.
no.
Let me go to the copper mine real
Stop.
quick.
Stop. They then speak about how Ellen wants to be king, how he feels like the position is his, and that Luthadel is his. Although Ellen feels that this is arrogant of him, although an understandable arrogance, Ham then suggests that they can go back and study more, but Ellen says he doesn't want to find a loophole anymore. As they walk more, he spots something happening between Straff and Set's army. One of the soldiers nearby tells him that there's a skirmish between some of the soldiers and that it's happening more and more often lately. He thinks that the armies are tense because of the siege and the winter weather, and that he just needs a little more time so that he can push them to fight each other. So were you surprised that there was some little bits of infighting between Set and Straff's armies?
No, because they both want the same thing.
Yeah, but it's a little, suspicious considering that quote unquote Straff was like, oh yeah, we got like
An alliance?
an alliance or whatever. Yeah, like sure, my guy, that totally helps the V.
Yup. So Ellen thinks back to before the collapse when he had wanted to prove that the Ska weren't different from nobles, although his interests had been mainly academic before the collapse. Now he had seen their self-confidence grow, and he found that he couldn't just abandon them. Suddenly Ellen turns to Ham and states that he has an idea. I'm not going to ask you about that because we know what his idea ends up being. So chapter 38, our final chapter, the epigraph is, "This is the problem. Though I believed in Alendi at first, I later became suspicious. It seemed that he fit the signs true, but how can I explain this? Could it be that he fit them too well?" So what did you think about this epigraph?
Alendi manipulated the whole situation into his favor.
Mm.
Yeah,
That's why all the people believe him.
I feel like he just listened to what the people wanted,
Mm-hmm.
especially in the Hero of Ages, and that sort of kind of became like a prophecy sort of like requirement or whatever. And he was like, "Yeah, I totally fit that or whatever."
So you think that because like it says I think earlier that like Quan realized that Alendi had realized what he thought of him, and so maybe he's like, oh, he thinks I'm like this really special guy. Maybe I'll look into this and like I want to be this person now. And so like he made himself fit more and more.
Yeah. I mean,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. Especially if like in the beginning he didn't want it, but he felt the need to do it because originally his goal was to help people. He might have just gotten carried away, and
So we start with Finn's point of view. Oh, sorry. We start with Finn's point of view. She stands beside Ellen in the assembly hall before the meeting where they would vote on who is to be king. Ellen says that Finn looks beautiful and notes that the trousers and shirts are her, but the dresses are also her. Ellen then apologizes for not having much time together and says once the throne is secured, he'll make sure to have more time for just the two of them. So do you think Ellen and Vin will be able to have more time together, or no?
Nope. Well, yeah, when they go on their trip for the Will of Ascension. Which obviously is going to happen because, Set's totally becoming king, so they're going to have to leave,
I think she's going to go with Zane.
Oh, do you think she's going to go with Zane to the well? Or does she general leave?
No, I'm actually wondering if, like, I don't think they're going to have enough time. I think they're going to be too focused on other stuff, but I'm wondering how Ellen would react to Zane.
Like him finding out that Zane's his brother?
Yep.
Also that, like, he apparently has a bunch of other siblings as well.
That's what I was thinking, bro. Oh, wait. Let's just... I'm just let you continue, bro.
Okay. So Finn notes that she feels a sense of wrongness to the event, but can't figure out why or what exactly is wrong. Ellen mentions that he and Ham had come up with a plan last night, but he hadn't had a chance to talk to her about it, even though it involves her reputation. Lord Penrod begins to start the meeting, and Ellen says he doesn't have time to explain, and it won't change anything between them. Finn is left alone, and she notes that Ham and Breeze are too far away for her to ask what Ellen is planning. She wonders how Ellen will get votes because she thinks that Lord Penrod will get the majority of the noble votes, and Set will get the Ska merchants and Ska workers. Lord Penrod invites Set to speak first, and he just stays in the audience and states that they know his threats and promises. Finn then notices Ham speaking to Demo in the crowd, and that a priest of the Church of the Survivor is there. She soon realizes that Ellen is going to join the church to get votes. She thinks the plan is clever and that he could possibly deadlock the vote to for king. So, what did you think about Ellen joining the Church of the Survivor?
I was glad it was that and not something...
They make it seem really ominous.
Something else. Yeah.
Yeah, because like the way he says it, I'm like, especially when I read it for the first time.
Even when they get into the meeting or whatever, he like states it to Vin. He was like, "I'm really sorry about what's about to happen." And
I know,
like,
it makes it sound so bad.
What are you about to do?
When I read this the first time, I definitely thought Zane had somehow like done something or manipulated something or like gotten his spy to manipulate something, and like Ellen was gonna like use Vin's like as a knife. More so than like kind of just her being related to the survivor, like use more of like her Mistborn threat stuff or something here. I was like, what the fuck?
I thought he was gonna go up there and be like, "All right, guys, I'm the real rightful king, and if you don't believe that, Vin's just gonna kill you. You know, like that's what I was like.
Now
Oh
it's gonna be the
You
shit!
know what
proof.
you know what I thought?
What?
I thought he was gonna pull up with one of those like, here's a loophole.
Oh,
I nominate Vin as king.
Oh my
oh god.
gosh.
I know she would have turned around, looked at him, and like been like, "What the fuck?"
Be like, excuse you? You want me to what now? But yeah, so we switch to Ellen's point of view as he finishes his speech. He glances at Vin, feeling bad that she will likely be unhappy about him joining the church due to not liking her place in its mythology. But then notices she is glancing out into the crowd. Suddenly a man jumps up onto the dais from the audience. Ellen rolls away from the thug in time to not get hit by the man's dueling cane. Vin then arrives to defend him and kicks the thug away. She tells Ellen to stay behind her as she pulls out an obsidian dagger. Ellen notes that other small groups are moving through the audience, one of them going towards Set and his soldiers. He also notes that the assassins are leaving the assemblymen alone and coming directly for him instead. So I think it kind of gets asked later as well, but who do you think sent these assassins?
Okay, yeah. So I was thinking, if it is
honestly,
Seth,
Oh, you want to
is
keep
it like,
going? Okay.
is it like
but
all? I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
Is it all like Ellen's brothers?
You think this is like the team of like siblings? Do you think
And
Vin
it-
just like slaughtered all of his siblings then?
Mhm.
That'd be fucked up.
That would make the most sense, but at the same time, I was kind of hoping it was going to be like another fourth party, just some
Oh,
random
God, you
person that
want
we had no
everyone
idea
there,
about
huh?
yet.
You literally want everyone there, huh?
Yep, I do.
It's like the terrorist people.
It's actually
Maybe
Finn sent
Say's.
them.
Yes, no, maybe Say's sent him.
Oh damn.
You know what I thought for a second?
Mm.
I was like, what if Ellen sent them to like showcase Finn's power?
Oh, that'd be fucked up.
Yeah, I was like, that's the type of fucked up shit that I was thinking of.
So we switch to
Mhm.
Vin's point of view as she slashes at the thug. She notes that there are 6 men now on the dais. 3 of them seem to be thugs, and 3 are likely coin shots or lurchers. She pulls on Ellen's sword and then pushes it towards the Allomancers, but they push it back at her, and she pulls Ellen's sheath to her and pushes it and the sword back at the Allomancers, but they deflect them into the crowd. She throws a glass dagger at one pair of Allomancer assassins and then jumps at another pair. She notes that the coin shots don't have any metal on them and that they are likely there to protect the thugs from any metal she throws towards them. So, what did you think of these little duos of thugs and coin shots?
Well organized team. Too bad they were against Vin.
Too bad they don't know about Duralumin. Duralumin just makes
You know-
Mistborn so much stronger.
I really am curious on like some of these other metals and stuff like that, and what they would be called. Like, I want to know the names of all of them. But hopefully it'll come eventually. If we ever see mistings of like certain things, like allomancy or not allomancy, atium and duralumin and aluminum.
Can you at least confirm that there are missings of not common metals? Like,
I cannot confirm.
She can't confirm anything.
Which confirms it.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
confirms
It
the-
does.
Exactly. It confirms it by saying she can't confirm it. Like if it wasn't, she would just be like, "There are no other mistings.
We
Those are
do
the
not
only."
know if
Yeah.
there are any other mistings or not. As
Mhm,
far as we are
mhm,
aware, there is not.
But
mhm.
do you know?
Yeah, she knows.
I know the answer if it's yes or no.
So it's yes.
It's yes, exactly.
Doesn't mean that. You guys just aren't through the
Mhm.
book.
I think it's yes. We'll hope it is, and
I'm
I'll hopefully get names for each one.
So one of the thugs tries to bludgeon her, and she kicks him in the chest with pewter-enhanced strength. Vin then brings herself back towards the 2 other thugs who have been closing in on Ellen. She breaks the leg of one of them before attacking the other. Ellen tries to fight as well, but the thug easily stops his attack, and Vin has to attack the thug again. Coins are thrown at her, and she jumps in front of Ellen to try to push the coins to the walls beside them instead of shooting them straight back out at the crowd. One of the coins cuts into her shoulder. She notes that the coins had been shot at her from a coin shot who had taken a bag of coins from one of the cowering assemblymen. The thug goes to attack Vin again, and she burns duralumin and pewter to take the hit while stabbing the thug in the neck, revealing a surprised coin shot behind him, who she then stabs in the chest using the same knife. One of the 2 remaining coin shots tries to shoot coins at Ellen, but Vin pushes them away. She reaches for one of her vials strapped into her sleeve, but the second coin shot pushes the vial away from her. Just as Vin thinks one of the thugs is going to get her, Oriser jumps at the man, causing him to punch Oriser in the head and crack his skull. Fuck. Vin is able to grab the thug's
No more
staff.
doggy.
Finn is able to grab the thug's staff and hit the thug with it, although he kicks out at her feet. She falls beside Oriser, and he opens his shoulder to reveal the vial of metals she had hidden there a while ago. Finn drinks the vial of liquid and is able to avoid the thug's next attack, and also hits him in the face. So, were you excited to see Oriser's shoulder pocket appear again, come into use?
Yeah. I was like, that's cool. But then I was like, okay, do more.
Did you like the shoulder pocket, Mythic?
I don't. I mean, he's got skin pockets, you know.
Yeah, skin pockets.
Mm-hmm.
So some more coins fly at Ellen, but Finn pushes them away. Oh, wait, I've read this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no.
Could debate
So
that.
even more coins fly at Ellen, and Finn pushes them away. Oriser then attacks the thug again, but he hits Oriser in the back. Finn then stabs her finger into the thug's eye socket and pops out his eye. She then grabs one of her daggers from the ground and stabs the thug in the chest. Finn then turns to see Ellen fighting off 2 coin shots. She hurries over, attacking the 2 coin shots. Suddenly Ellen cries
Ellen
out.
fighting off 2 coin shots. What a fucking
Try.
image.
Yeah. Suddenly Ellen
Uh-huh.
cries out to her as Vin is grabbed and thrown to the floor by the thug she had broken the leg of earlier. The thug kneels over Vin as he begins to choke her. Vin gets flashbacks of dozens of different men, including her brother, beating her. She flares pewter, but the thug is still stronger than her. Ellen pounds on the man and shouts for help, but Vin can barely hear him.
This is my favorite part.
She feels like she has seen the man's face before, but she can't place it, before she uses Duralumin to flare her pewter and headbutt the man's head to pieces.
I'm pretty sure it said it exploded.
Yeah, it pretty much explodes.
I was
She
like,
headbutts him in his head,
"Oh."
just like poof. Before she blacks out, she sees Ellen covered in blood and looking at her in horror.
Uh-huh.
Do you think this is going to change things between Ellen and Finn?
Yes, 100%. He sees in her new light. He's never seen her fight before.
Not like that, at least.
He's never seen her fight before.
He saw her fight off some guards in the Lord Ruler's
He never seen her fight
palace,
before.
and he's seen her kind of fight some horses while trying to defend Breeze.
Never
Who
seen
was
her
that
fight.
guy? You think his face was familiar because he was actually a sibling?
Maybe he just looks like Ellen and Zane.
Mhm.
That's why his face looks familiar.
I mean, Zane did tell her, right? I believe.
He told her that his father asked him to kill her, not that anything about the siblings. I think he says
No. He does state though that he has other siblings.
Yeah, he did. He says the
But-
reason for the mistresses was partially to have a bunch of
exactly.
Allomancers.
Imagine
So,
Ellen finds out and he's like, "You killed my sibling."
You
yeah,
exploded the
you killed my
head
family.
of my brother.
You killed my family. Oh my god. I mean,
Uh,
he did threaten his own father. So
Yeah. So we switch back to Ellen's point of view after the battle is over. Soldiers are getting rid of the corpses, and pretty much everyone else is left. Ham tells Ellen that Finn will be fine with some pewter and care from Sazed. Ellen then notes that he hasn't seen a proper battle before, and he keeps thinking back to the man that Finn headbutt to death. Ham then mentions that
Headbutt to death? More like fucking explode.
I mean, she used a headbutt to explode his head.
He exploded.
So Ham then mentions that he thinks Straff sent the men since they attacked both Elend and Set. He also mentions how impressed he is that Vin took on 6 Allomancers while protecting someone. Elend also brings up how he's pretty sure he saw her throwing horses around when she went to help Breeze into the city. Suddenly a messenger arrives telling them that the vote for king will be happening at Lord Penrod's mansion. Ham is upset, but Ellen mentions they have to vote today, otherwise Elend ends up being king by default. So were you surprised by this messenger like Ham was, being like, what the fuck, they're gonna vote still? After all that?
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? Like, it's not the time.
I mean, it is the time.
Apparently it's the only time they've got, so...
Yeah, exactly.
It's understandable, but also it's like, yeah, everyone's like pretty fucking shooken up after that.
They took way too much time there. But I mean, how many people saw her do that?
I don't know. It depends how much they had, like, evacuated before that
Because,
happened.
like, I feel like it would have swayed a lot of votes if... Hey guys, this is my fucking girlfriend's almost wife.
You know, I'm still a little scared that Ellen actually sent them,
Mm.
and she just fucking took him out so easily. He didn't expect that, and it's like out of hand.
She's turning into a new Lord Ruler.
So we skipped the vote at Lord Penrod's mansion. Lord Penrod, of course, votes for himself, and Lord Dukeler also votes for Lord Penrod. It's known that the
Which
room...
I did, by the way, did not see coming. I thought he definitely would have voted for Ellen. But
Dookie Lord.
Dukeler.
Dookie Lord.
It's known that the room has a bunch of soldiers guarding them and 3 scribes, including Norden, being witnesses to the vote. Lord Habron votes for Set, and then Ellen votes for himself. However, Philin votes for Lord Penrod, and a bunch of the other merchants afterwards also vote for Lord Penrod. Ellen is shocked, and there is a note that Set didn't come to the meeting as he's nursing his wounds at Keep Hasting. So are you surprised that Set didn't show up?
Surprised Set didn't show up?
Yeah, for the vote. Like, wasn't here to, like, watch it happen.
No, I hope he's dead.
Thought you liked Set.
I mean, I do. I like him, but I mean,
It'd
because
be
then
more
that's
fun
gonna
if he's
create.
dead.
It's gonna create more issues for them, you know.
I don't know. I feel like he's gonna be like, nah, that ain't count. Technically, doesn't like one of his clause says that if someone's not there or whatever, it doesn't
Or
really
what?
count.
No, because Ellen wasn't there, and they deposed his ass.
Also, Set doesn't have to be there because he's not part of the assembly. So the Ska workers, starting with Haw, then start to vote for Ellen. Apparently, he had promised the church his devotion and that he would be open about being part of the church. Two Ska workers. He doesn't have to believe. He says he can't promise that he'll end up believing in it, but he's like, I promise to be devoted to the church and like be open about it and everything. So two Ska workers vote for Penrod, but then two more vote for Ellen. The vote ends in a deadlock with 15 votes for Penrod, 7 for Ellen, and 2 for Set. Suddenly, Lord Habron speaks up, asking if he can change his vote from Set since he feels his vote didn't matter. The whole assembly turns to Ellen to
I
see.
hate.
The whole assembly turns to Ellen to see if it's allowed, and Ellen meets Norton's eyes, and he can tell the man wouldn't say anything if Ellen didn't. However, Ellen tells the truth that as long as the speaker hasn't called the end of the vote, they can change it, but only one time. The two men who voted for Set then change their votes to Penrod, making Penrod the new king. Ellen removes his crown and tells Lord Penrod that he'll need it before Ellen and Ham leave. So were you surprised that Lord Penrod ended up being the one that became king?
No, not at all. I mean, I thought he would vote for Ellen, but you know, it's a better option than Set. But what I do have an idea on is that it might be a manipulation by Set. That's why the people who were for him voted for Penrod.
So like, we don't think we can get enough votes without it being a deadlock, so we'll vote for someone else who you can potentially get on your side.
Or is already on your side.
Yeah.
When, you know, we had the meeting with all these people.
What do you think, Darkness? Were you surprised that Lord Penrod became king?
Low key, I thought there would be a lot more votes for Set.
More than 2.
Yeah, because he was talking this big game or whatever about all these threats and bribes. Like,
well, I think
I get
the
it.
main voting bloc that was going to vote for him like turned on him, and we don't know why.
Yeah,
because it was filling all the merchants who were the main votes.
But I mean, like, maybe it just is part of his ultimate plan or whatever.
So yeah, now it's overview questions, because that was our last chapter. So my first question is related to that last little part, which is, do you think Penrod will hand over Luthadel to Set or Straff?
Nah, he's too greedy.
Do I think Penrod will hand it over?
Yeah, do you think Penrod's just going to hand the city over?
I think Set manipulated him, so.
So also, what do you think Ellen and the crew are going to do now that Ellen is no longer king?
They're going to the Well of Ascension.
It's most likely gonna happen, but I'm more interested in what the fuck the Kolas are gonna do.
Well, that's another one of my questions. Do you think the Kolas army will end up attacking the other armies?
Yes, slaughter them all.
It'd be nice.
It would have been nice, like, weeks ago.
Very helpful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And my final question is, who do you think is the spy?
That I have no answer for.
What do you think, Darkness? Do you have any ideas of who the spy could be?
No, I'm sorry. I'm trying to think, like,
That's okay.
and I'm going through, like, so many different theories in my head. Like, at some point, I even reached, like, what if it's Set? But, I don't know. It's just, they're making it so fucking hard, because they're like, what if it's this person? And then they clear them, like, it's Spook.
It's Spook? She's already cleared Spook.
Yeah, it's not Spook.
But she's cleared everyone else, too, so.
I mean, technically, Doxson and Demo she can't clear, and also it could just be someone not in the direct crew.
Yet they somehow have a lot of information about things that only the direct crew should know.
Yeah, but I mean, Oriser is making the argument that shouldn't be, like, it's very possible that they could just have that information.
So it's Spook.
He's an Elemancer. It can't be Spook.
They didn't answer that they couldn't use Allomancy.
What?
No, he did. He did after a pause. He said, yeah, they can't use it. They can't be an Allomancer. Yes.
I remember there was something like Allomancy related.
Well, he was hesitant about telling her that, like, I think you had asked this question actually earlier, and I've just remembered it. Is that emotional allomancy doesn't affect them? So if like you try and soothe or ride
Right.
them,
Okay.
yeah. Sorry, I think
Yeah.
you brought that up
Emotional
earlier, and I had
almonds.
forgotten.
Yeah.
Yeah, just emotional allomancy.
Yeah.
Doesn't affect them.
I mean, what else is there that would affect them?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what he told her is that like she can soothe or ride them, and like they won't notice.
Because it won't work, right?
Yeah, like it won't
Yeah.
it won't
Yeah.
change their emotions in any way. They won't even feel the effects of someone trying to do it.
Why doesn't she just
Well, that's
fucking
the thing.
poof?
Yeah, wait. So why doesn't she do that then?
That's what I said, like, hella long
Yeah,
ago.
yeah, I know, right? So
I
why
don't
wouldn't
know.
she do that then? Just riot or soothe them, and if they don't have if it doesn't have an effect, then like use your Duralumin, right? And fucking amplify the
Yeah, do what she
effects
did
like
to
super.
Straff. We know Straff isn't a Contra.
Okay.
Imagine she just uses Duralumin to affect her emotions, and they just have a fucking existential crisis and a breakdown
Oh
right
my
there.
god, like Straff. Straff is just like, I need her dead. And then and the next Dachshund's like, I need her dead after she like does that to him.
Suddenly, everyone's trying to kill Vin.
So yeah, so that was the end of part 3. Next we'll be starting part 4, which is called Knives. And we'll be doing chapters 39 to 43. So yeah, thank you guys all so much for
9 to
listening.
33.
Yep, 39 to 43. So yeah, thank you guys all so much for listening. We really appreciate it, and have a good day. Bye.
Bye.